Baker really doesn't have a problem with all the congressional spending. The Center for Economic Policy Research Economist has a big problem with our Federal Reserve and its spending. The same Fed officials, he suggests, maybe he should be waterboarded to explain where all that money is going. I think he's being facetious there. I hope he is, because it's a good thing he's via remote here, because that could get ugly. Dean, good to have you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me on, Neil.
It was an interesting comment.
I am being facetious, yeah.
But your premise was, in all seriousness, look, we'd like to know what they're up to, right?
Yeah, well, the basic point here, you were just talking with Mike Huckabee, you mentioned the TARP, and the TARP gives roughly $700 billion of money to the banks as a bank bailout, and that, of course, was a big issue, and I agreed with him. We didn't have to rush that through as we did. But we have even more money, about 3 times as much money, over $2 trillion being lent out by the Fed. And at least with the TARP, I could look up on the web and find out how much does Citigroup get, how much did Bank of America get. I don't get any information from the Fed. So the point here is there's a bill before Congress that says we should have the Fed audited by the Government Accountability Office so we will know where the money's going. And the response has been, that was where my waterboarding line came in. It's as though we were suggesting we waterboard them. We're just saying we want to know where our money went.
No,
Simple
I know.
story.
It was a very well written and very good point. But where is the Fed getting the money? I mean, I didn't realize they had access to such large sums. I know when they and the Treasury in the past have bought or sold dollars, that was a big deal. It made a statement. And then the markets were supposed to either be terrified or wowed by it and stand back in awe. But this is financial shock and awe to a whole new level. Where do they get this money?
Well, the Fed basically prints it. I mean, they have the authority to do that, and under the current circumstances, I think that's probably appropriate. I mean, I'm not upset about necessarily using the money. I just want to say we should know where it's going.
But if you suggest that it's being, I know, and you're for a lot of the spending, but if you suggest that they're printing a lot of it, then they should state that, because as you also know, that in and of itself is inflationary, and that later down the road is going to be a problem, right?
Well, we have to be mindful of it. I'm not too worried about it. The fact is the markets aren't too worried about it. I mean, we could look today at the 10-year Treasury rates around 3.5. I actually didn't check what the latest number was. But that's not an indication that the markets are very concerned that inflation's about to take
Dean,
off.
still, they have been backing up. I mean, you're right. These levels are historically extremely low. So, 3.5%, 3.75%. Even if we were under 3 back last fall, it is still nominal. But, it's beginning to tick up there, right?
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways that's a good thing, though. It was under 3 because people were scared to put their money anywhere else.
Right.
So
this has helped you go far. But you just want to know, especially now with the Federal Reserve ahead of a big meeting next month, where a lot of folks in the market are hoping to see that they'll make some statement on buying more mortgage-backed securities, more Treasury notes, bonds, et cetera, anything to help with this onslaught of supply. It gets back to the same issue. What are they going to do? How are we accounting for this, right?
That's right. And again, what the idea of having an audit just so that the public knows where their money's going, which again, the Fed may be totally, I don't even expect to find anything improper, but just, why is there not why is there not a paper trail there?
Well, is there any allure to being mysterious? Like Bo Derek in 10 until she started talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I liked it when she was just alluring, when she was running on the beach and then she started talking.
Well, you
saying,
certainly make the Fed sound more attractive compared to
I know, I'm making the Fed sound a hell of a lot more attractive than it is. I know the Fed, and it's no Bo Derek. But my point is that maybe the mystery to where they get the money and the fact that don't worry, we can always get the money, don't worry about it, has a sort of a mob appeal to it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. The Fed is obviously very close to the banks, and it's really disproportionately, essentially controlled by the banks. It's in its governing structure. I mean, this is a conspiracy. I mean, if you look, you have the 12 district banks, and they're basically bank presidents, and they're essentially selected by the banks within the district. And to my mind, the Fed is a public institution, and it should be accountable to the President and Congress. And that's a real problem. And the secrecy, I think, gets to the core of it. It's sort of saying to the public, this is none of your business. We decide this. You stay out of it. And to my mind, this is $2 trillion. It's our money. It's our business.
Very good point. And it should scare you mightily that I agree with you. Dean, thank you very much. It's always good to have you.
Weekend.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me on a lot.
Very, very much.